All right. So today we are going to be rationalizing the denominator. Now this is using I, and the reason why we can't have I in the denominator is because it's a square root of an imaginary number. So whomever came up with this, I don't know. It's just something we had to do. It's just part of the deal. But I'm gonna kind of show you how easy this is. This is probably the easier ones to do, and that's why we're doing it like we are today. All right. So basically, we have this example like this, and we'd have to multiply the fraction by I over I, which is technically another way to say one. It's confusing to me too, and I'm a daggone math teacher. Okay, so if we look through the process, we sit here. Let me see if I can get my little magic pen. Magic. Okay. So we multiply, 7 times I, 7I. Well, I times I is I squared. Now, we've learned before that I squared is -1. So now we have 7I over -1, which just becomes 7I. All right. So this brings me to my next little fun thing. When you have I in the denominator just by itself, either something times I, there's no plus or minuses. I like for us to use something called the Captain Insano method. So for Captain Insano, it's kind of like this from the Water Boy, where he pokes his eye out right here when he says, "What would Captain Insano do to the bad guys?" And the reason why we do this is because Captain Insano shows no mercy. All right. So in our problems here, I just tickled myself and I'm right here. All right, so we'd actually just have to multiply these by I over I. This again is a pirate's favorite. Lesson A. So we would have 2I over 8I squared. Okay, I know that 2's ugly. We're just going to leave it. So it's just 2I over, now I'm going to say this. Now we know that I squared is -1. So basically we have 2I over -8, which becomes negative 1/4 I. You could also write this as negative I over 4. Either one of those is okay for this one. Okay. So basically, like Captain Insano, we're poking the I out of the bottom. Yes, that's how I understood it. All right. So yeah, multiply I by I. 3I, 5I squared. All right, 3I is going to stay the same. And we know that I squared is -1. So I'm just going to slide this in here. Okay. And now we have 3I over -5. Technically, you could write it like that, but a lot of places would like standardized test and maybe something that I may put on an assignment kind of looks like this. Okay. And this is a simple process. That's why we're doing this today. And you get to look at my lovely face. All right, so we're going to keep on cruising. Now we have this right here. So it's not, so my little old man grunt. Now, don't get right here, and a lot of people have done this before. They forget to square the I. Okay, and they're like, "Oh, I could just cancel out." Well, let's just keep going. I don't know why I'm doing that kind of thing today. All right, so we're going to have -5 times -1, which is basically -5 over 5I over 5, and our 5s will cancel, and we're just left with -I. Now, basically, you could have done the same thing right here, but all right. Then again, we're going to multiply it. Now, we're not multiplying by -9I. We're just multiplying by I on this one. Okay. We're poking the I out. So we're going to have -I and -9. Now, this is going to be I squared. So we have -I over -9, -1, which is basically negative I, because this is positive. So bingo, bango. All right, fairly easy. It's just a process, okay? Just step by step, day by day. I'm really starting to worry about my teacher, Mr. J. All right. So we're going to have 6i over -4 times -1. All right. Now, you should get a clue that, hey, these are evens. These are going to simplify, and this will reduce down. Just put the 6 over 4 in the calculator, and it will do it for you. That's what I would do. I mean, WWJD, what would Jeffries do? Okay. I'm going to get in trouble for that one day. All right. A little bit different on this one. This time we got to do some distributive property. So I'm going to set it up right here. And we know that this is going to be 9i squared. All right. So when I distribute, this is going to be 6i plus, distribute right there, 8i squared. And then we don't have to distribute. Now, I can go ahead and kind of cheat and substitute that. You don't have to, but, that's just me. And we're going to keep going. So just like we said that I squared was -1 here, this is 6i plus 8 times -1. And I'm going to clean up the bottom. All right. And we get 6i minus 8 over -9. Now, for some odd reason, for the whomever came up with this whole complex number, the I number does not go in front. The I number goes behind. That's actually called your complex number or your imaginary number. So this is actually how you would write your answer. And since you're not writing and all your stuff is going to be paperless, you don't have to write it. Ding. That's, have you seen this, seen this, seen this, seen my genius, genius, genius? All right. Again, this is, I'm just multiplying my I. So I want to have distributive property right here, a little arrow. All right, so this is 4 minus 9i over, okay, we got -6i squared. This time I'm just going to kind of tag along the I squared so I can simplify at the same time. Now, if I distribute 4i minus 9i squared over -6i squared. All right, so 4i minus 9, now this is -1, -6. All right, so we know that only one of these it's not going to change is the 4i. All right, this is -9 times -1, or if you say 9 times -1 minus negative, it's going to be the same thing. Potato, potato, okay? So, and then -6 times -1 is +6. And to rewrite it in the form, like you're supposed to, I don't understand that either. I was told you have to do it this way. This is the rules. Sometimes I like to break the rules, but or we'll do it today. I don't want the math, SWAT team to come after me. Again, I'm just chugging along, chugging along, doing my math. 6 and I squared. That's a 10. That's not a BI. Okay. So when we distribute, we're going to get -3i plus 10i squared over -6 I squared. So we're going to substitute the I squared for -1 times -1 and -6 times -1. Okay. So -3 minus 10 over 6. And all right, so again, we can't do this. And none of these have simplified. Like I can't take anything out of these, so I can't really simplify them down. And some of the stuff that we'll see later, they do. So that might be a reason I chose these for today, to not really confuse you. I don't want to confuse you on why you have to simplify. I just want you to understand this is, we got to use I. All right. So, back to easy ones. I like the easy ones. All right. Now that's just a negative I. Who cares? Okay. We're still just going to use I. That's our conjugate. We're poking the I out. If you go back and look at this, everything is times I over I in some different color. Okay. So I guess that's what you do. All right. And this is -I squared. All right, so up top, it's going to be negative. I'm just going to write negative 1i because I can, plus 8i squared over negative I squared. All right, so this is negative 1i. All right, plus 8 times negative 1, and stop. I had an alarm for some reason. I forgot why. I'll look at it later. And this is going to be negative 1. All right, so we're cleaning up. Negative 1. All right, 8 times negative 1 is minus 8. Now, negative times a negative is a positive 1. All right, anything over 1 is itself. So let's go ahead and clean this up like 2 ways. Basically, it's going to be everything on top, so we're just going to rewrite it so it's in the correct form. And when you would see this typed out on homework or standardized test or something like that, it's going to be written like that. Or if you're somebody else that's not in my classroom and you're using this video, if your teacher's like one of these people, that's what you got to look for. Okay, so so we have 10 minus 10i over negative 5 squared. All right, 10i minus 10i squared over negative 5i squared. All right. So I'm starting to clean up here. Remember, I squared is negative 1. All right, so I'm going to have 10. Now this becomes negative to negative. This is a plus 10. And negative, negative, this is a positive 5. All right, so this one we can actually simplify a lot more. I guess I ended this. I forget how I plan things. Okay, so 10 plus 10i over 5. Now, think about it. You can take something out of all this. There's a couple ways to do this, but some people say, well, you got to use the butterfly. You got to simplify, and I don't know, and all this kind of other, didn't need to do that. But basically, what is 10 divided by 5? 2. Again, 10 divided by 5. This is 2i. All right. So this is simplifying, rationalizing. Again, I call it the Captain Insano method because you got to poke the eye out. Okay. Hope y'all are having a good rest of the day. Roll Tide.